Hi there, I'm Coach Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And in this video, we're going to be talking to you about how to get in your ex's head.
Right? So we're going to turn you really microscopic and you crawl through their ear.
Careful with the earwax. You could get stuck in there. So obviously, right after the breakup, most people do the same thing. We desperately want to fix it. We want to repair the connection. It is biologically hardwired into us to repair everything. So we do anything and everything that we think that we can that will work. And for some reason, we human beings come up with the same answers. It's very surreal, isn't it? Mm-hmm. These ideas it's like across the board. I should send them an apology letter, a handwritten letter, a clean slate message, a long apology, a grand gesture. Mm-hmm. All of these things inside of us say, fix this connection. We've got to repair this connection, which is what you want to do in a relationship, right? In a relationship, you want to fix the connection. You don't want there be too much of damage or space when you love somebody and you're committed to them. The hard part is when it's a breakup and that person is saying, nope, this is a breakup. You have to stop doing those things that you would do if you were trying to repair it in an actual relationship where you're still committed.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of times these attempts to try to fix the relationship just make them feel pressured. And if anything, it just turns them off to it. They've already made this decision where they want to be free. They want to experience their own independence after this relationship. They've made up their mind. So the more pressured they are about it, the more they dig their feet in the sand and will double down on their decision.
Especially those stubborn exes.
It's true. It's true. And we understand that on your end, your ex is on your mind probably all of the time. Mm-hmm. It's probably hard not to think about them. They're at this point probably an intrusive thought. You just want to be able to live your life, but you're thinking about them all the time. And you're probably wondering, is my ex thinking about me in the same way? And that's why we want to get in their head. We're like, I worry that they've forgotten about me. How can I get this person curious about me again? How can I be interesting to this person again? Mm-hmm. So that's really what we're talking about.
Yep.
When we push and we try to force our way into their mind by being ever present and by reaching out to them and by telling them all about our lives, we're doing the exact opposite of what we want. We're giving them all the information to be like, well, here I am. You've got nothing to wonder about.
You haven't lost me.
Exactly.
There's no consequence.
Exactly. And so you end up feeling a lot more hopeless because you're not really seeing them be curious because you're giving them all this information. And yeah, it ends up leaving you feeling more hopeless.
Yep. Yeah, because when you're pushing them to make those bids to connect, they often get colder. Mm-hmm. And then they become more abrasive and aggressive and stern. And so you really start to believe, well, now they're never going to change their mind. Now they're really never going to come back. Mm-hmm. So flipping that takes time. And you have to stop giving them answers. That's the first thing you have to do. Meaning any bid to connect is going to tell them they still have you. Anything, okay? I saw this with a family member recently who was just trying to connect with an ex about something nice just to check mm-hmm. on them after the breakup. And then they said to another family member, oh, he still wants to be with me. And he was like, no, I was just trying to be polite. So they took this tiny bit of information where he was just trying to check in. He didn't listen to me, by the way. I told him not to do it, but it was interesting to see. Oh, that's interesting because she took this little bit of information and took it back to the family. Oh, see, he still wants to be with me, and he's blah blah blah. So my point is, anytime you do any little thing, your ex is gonna unconsciously see it as they still want to be with me. So you've got to stop reaching out. Full no contact, as we teach it, means no more initiating, no texts, no checking in, no grand gestures, no handwritten letters, no clean slate messages, no begging, no pleading, the works. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And when we're saying getting in your ex's head, we don't mean in a negative way, right? Sure, you could reach out and do all of those things that we just said not to do, and you will be on your ex's mind, but in a very angry, irritable way. And that's not what you want if you're trying to repair the relationship, right? So I know that for some of you ADHD children out there might have grown up with Craig's like, what are you about to say? with that idea of any attention is good attention, even if it's bad attention,
Yeah.
right? Because, as kids, we're just wanting the adult attention, right? We just want our parents' attention or the teacher's attention. But this is not the case with your ex, right? I know that there's like that feeling of if I make more noise and they pay attention, even if they're angry, then at least I have their attention. That's not how you want to be on someone's mind.
I feel like we're hearing about a young Victoria right now.
I probably had ADHD. I'm cured now, though. Clearly.
With all the spotlights on you right now.
So right after the breakup, they are feeling that relief. Your ex is going through that. Okay, I've made that decision. It was really tough to do. I didn't know how I was going to say it. I didn't know what was going to happen, but I'm still alive. I'm still kicking. Okay.
Yep.
They feel that sense of relief, and they're focused on themselves. So they want that discomfort of the pressure of the relationship just to be over at this point. And for them, they haven't started to experience the consequences of the breakup. They haven't started to experience the negative sides of not being with you, which if you were with this person for any length of time, then they would have been attached to you. There would have been inside jokes that the two of you had. The two of you would have had like certain habits and things that were nice about the relationship, enough for them to stay up until that point.
Yep.
So they haven't felt those consequences of not having those things that they enjoyed
No
yet.
void. There's no void yet.
Exactly. And so when we reach out, we're creating more of that safe base. So they could have it if they wanted. They could have it if they just reached out to you and they knew that you wanted to be back together. By me making this decision, I'm also potentially letting go of this relationship forever, which might not be what they want during the breakup, because there can still be this idea of, no, I don't want this relationship, but I know that this person still wants to be with me, and that door could be opened later in the future if I want to. It becomes a lot more scary, nerve-wracking when they're making a decision of forever.
That's right.
No, despite what they say. I'll add that.
Yeah. They'll say they don't want you, but they like the safety net of knowing that you want them still.
Exactly.
So that's what we're trying to get at, is that there's no wondering. What's to wonder? They know they can have you. How are you going to get inside their head if they know you're still there? It doesn't work like that. The wondering happens, the thinking about things, the obsessing about things happens when they don't know anymore. And that only happens with silence and time. Reaching out as we teach it. As that happens, the safety disappears. They no longer think that you're that secure base. They're wondering if you've moved on, or if they're lost you to somebody else. It's interesting because they act like they don't care. And sometimes they'll even be like, you should find somebody else. And the minute you do, somehow they know, and they are terrified, they're upset, and I just heard it a couple days ago from somebody that the minute he went on a date with somebody else, his other ex reached out. Yeah.
Man.
In fact, I hope they're going to share that story with us.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
So separation anxiety only kicks in when they have a void, and they can create all these own thoughts in their mind, like a carousel, like it's happening to you. It reverses it, and it makes them have it. It flips it.
Yeah. Yep. And you have to be willing to create that space. So that's the important takeaway here. If they do reach out, let's say they have been thinking about you, they do an indirect direct, or maybe it is more direct than even that. How do you handle it? You want to be able to respond, right? So
A 4-hour phone call?
no, we don't want to stay on the phone for too long. We want to be able to have some limits here and kind of show this person, okay, I have boundaries, I have structure in my life. And so we want to be able to have limits with those conversations, but we do want to respond. I know Craig earlier had talked about how we see no contact as no reach out. When we start to think that, oh, I'm going to get in my ex's head if I just don't respond to when they reach out to me, now you're just making them feel rejected. Now it's, they're going to be less likely to reach out again because of that feeling. Handle it like a mature adult. If you hear from them and they're open to having that conversation, then talk with them. But you want to be able to reestablish that connection in person ultimately.
That's your goal. I would do a very short phone call and say, look, why don't we get together and we'll go out and catch up? And you want to be fun and have a great time, and you want to rebuild attraction. That is the most important thing to do. When you do that, the other stuff becomes easier, because you got to really create that strong attraction and connection again, so they are willing to deal with those challenging issues and difficulties that you had. People are a lot more likely to do it when they feel the attraction first.
Right. And that connection really is built in person. If you're able to meet up, if you're able to self-soothe and have emotional self-control and reestablish that sense of safety and fun in that relationship or in those initial interactions, then things can change a lot from there. They can have a much different idea of what this relationship is, rather than just feeling this pressure and control of having to make a decision and getting back together and you having this agenda. So you want to steer away from that. And when they are ready, when they reach out to you, then be open to that. I want to add, I know that there are coaches out there that will push the meet up and hook up, and you're going to get in their mind. All right, I calm down there, tiger. I'll say that first. While, it's a very personal decision if you choose to be intimate with your ex or not in that moment. If you think that this is going to be something that will get in their mind and they're going to be crazy about you, I wouldn't say that that's the route to go.
Well, it depends upon the people involved. Because, if you have a guy that's just trying to exploit you and hook up and then will abandon you, you don't want to put yourself in that position where they get what they want and they abandon you and leave.
And you also don't want to come off as that person either.
Yeah, you don't want to use people, right? Or allow them to use you. But sometimes that can, if that person is a really authentic person and the connection is sincere and genuine, and you don't feel like it's about being taken advantage of you or used, it's okay to do that. It's just about protecting yourself and being okay with, okay, what if we hook up and they don't contact me again? Because there are people out there that are like that, but then there are some people that I talk to that their partners are very genuine and wouldn't do it like that.
Yeah.
So it's really a case-by-case scenario. Obviously, that intimacy can really rebuild the attraction and the connection if it's done in a healthy way. But we don't want any of you to be used or taken advantage of when you're feeling hurt and vulnerable already.
Right. And I would just say be cautious. There is something to anticipation to that could add to the wonder, mystery, and excitement. So, I know there's some coaches out there that will push that. My point is not to focus so much on that to create that anticipation with them, but more so thinking about all these other things that we had mentioned and talked about, giving them space, working on confidence, being able to self-soothe, and not going in with the pressuring mindset either about the relationship or intimacy.
Exactly. All right. So we covered a lot.
Yeah.
Hopefully this one is helpful to you. Please just understand that it is a process. And it's not easy for you, especially in that beginning of the process, but we see this all the time. The process works. But work on yourself in no contact, because they're going to have doubts when they come back, and you have to show them that things will be different. Both of you do.
Yep.
It's not just on you, but you want to control what you can on your end. All right. Hopefully this one's been helpful to you. If you'd like to get our help personally, you could do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Zoom calls. Coach Victoria is also available for Zoom coaching.
I'm here whenever you'd like to chat.
Just click on her name on the top of the website to schedule with her. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon.